Welcome everybody to Spirits in the Material World. And boy, do we have a spirit today. I'm really excited to welcome our guest, Glenda Benevides. And we were just chatting. I was telling Glenda that there's no way we could get this done in the amount of time we have today. It's just so much to pack in. But I'm going to try to, Glenda, I'm going to try to do you justice with a little bit of an introduction. And then you can color it in or correct me. That's the case, maybe. But born in Oakland, California.
Yep.
We were just talking about the California connection. Raised in East Oakland. Boy, do I know that area. Grammy-nominated singer, songwriter, author, transformational guide. Something tells me I'm going to be on a retreat by the time we're done with this podcast. And founder, I know this is getting any better than this. Founder of Global Badass Goddess platform. I don't know if it gets any better than that. Oh. So definitely a force of nature that we have on our show today. And because of your style of singing and all that, very soulful, bluesy. I personally am super excited because, well, you can't see it. I'm in my music room right now, but most of my vinyl collection is in that genre. And I was just telling you, I live in the Delta.
Yeah.
And I have, either way, either direction, I can go to a juke joint or a blues bar or, BB King's is right there. Hernando's Hideaway is right. That would be perfect for you, Hernando's Hideaway. So anyways,
I'm looking for way in.
I know, right? I just love it. So, but yeah, and then you have 4 books. Am I right about that?
Yeah.
Courage. Find your fire and ignite action in your life.
Correct.
Soul on fire.
Yeah.
And own the goddess within.
Yep.
So, where do we even start? How about we do this? Let's start with, I always love, especially with artists, I always love a little bit about growing up, because I think we all agree there's so much that happens that influences the directions and the decisions that we make, especially artists, because that seems to come out a lot, right, in your music. So talk a little bit about little Glenda in Oakland.
Oh my God. Well, I think you're pointing to something, and I think it's really a journey, and not to just, that's, kind of a top level kind of word, but it really is, because, you start out in one place, and as you go and grow, you end up in the next phase, right? And for me, born in Oakland, I was there till I was about 6 or 7. My parents moved us to Oregon. So I did most of my growing, in Oregon. And probably because otherwise I'd have been a hip hop artist. No.
True.
Been a hip hop artist. But, I didn't start out that way. I started out, as a young singer, songwriter, being influenced with the times, doing acoustic. I play guitar. I was doing not Americana, but just, kind of folk music. Then I moved into rock, and then I moved into hard rock, and then I did top 40, and then I moved, from there to what I really love to do, which was R&B, jazz. And so, now I kind of float back and forth between the blues, jazz, and R&B. So it's all mixed in. It's kind of like a melting pot, which is interesting because that's part of your life, right? And that's whatever comes out, you get to hear the roadmap of somebody's life when they're singing or playing guitar or whatever. You get to hear their influences or whatever. I mean, Sarah Vaughan was like a big influence of mine. That's jazz, so heart, that just came up through all these, Led Zeppelin, so anyway, so that's kind of it in a nutshell, really. And I've just rediscovering myself ongoingly. I think that's how it shows up.
I don't think we ever stop.
Yeah,
I don't think it ever stops.
So. I don't think so either.
I guess the term every day is a school day is probably overused, but we just keep learning. I mean, I think that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
You just keep learning, keep growing. Okay. So you covered a lot of genres growing up.
Yeah.
In singing.
Yeah.
When you said hard rock, so I go every year to Sacramento, to see my brother, in October. I think it's October. Yeah, October. And we go to the Aftershock Music Festival, which is 4 days. I don't know if you heard of that.
I think I have kind of, not really. Anyway, yeah, go ahead.
It's 4 days of hard rock.
Wow.
It's nuts, wow. But it's so good. It's like everybody and anybody.
Wow.
Am I understanding correctly? Your voice range is 4 octaves. Am I saying that right?
On a good day, yes.
So you could probably hit the Robert Plant Led Zeppelin.
Oh, on it. Yeah, easy. Yeah.
He was
probably
just here at the
he can now.
Well, I was just going to say, 2 weeks ago he was here.
Yeah, he's on tour. Yeah,
he's on tour.
See him?
And I did. I went to the Orpheum with my wife.
God, I'm so jealous.
And I was like, there's a few people in my life. I love festivals. This is not about me, obviously, but I love festivals. I go to a lot of festivals my whole life. And, there's always been a few people that I've always wanted to see. Paul McCartney, obviously, was one of them. I've seen him twice.
Nice.
God, he's like, and then Robert Plant, I never got to see Led Zeppelin. And by the way, Robert's voice sounded wonderful.
Yeah.
It really did. It's like, wow.
I think he, well, anybody that's going to go on tour should be rehearsing.
You hope, right?
Yeah, you hope. Yeah. Oof. But that's super exciting. I wonder if he'll probably be close here too. I haven't looked around, but
I'm sure he's making his way.
Yeah. Just so busy. I have a new album that I'm working on right now called Cypress Moon. And
let's hear about it.
Yeah, it's really dedicated to the South, really. That's because I've got a lot of that soulful Southern influence. Cypress Moon, the goddess, and the depth. And we actually have cypress trees out here. I don't know if you know that.
I did not.
I didn't either.
Wow, really?
Yeah, I was like, "What? There's a cypress like garden or something." I'm like, "What?" Okay, so we'll take pictures there. But yeah, Cypress Moon, and it's really that bluesy, soulful, down home, experience. So yeah, dedicated to my lineage, which is the Scottish people that came over and immigrated to the South. Really, that's a big Scottish contingency. Probably not now, but and then they moved up to the Appalachians and just all around. But yeah, I'm excited about that. And since we're at 250 years right now with our Declaration of Independence, back in 2015, I wrote a song called "I Ride." And how that came about was I was going back and forth to Boston with my music partner. He had a studio out there, so I was flying back and forth. And in all our days off, I'd be like, well, I should just go check some stuff out here. What's going on? It's like, oh, yeah, Concord, Lexington, that kind of thing. I'm like, oh, that's the shot heard around the world. Oh, yeah. Things like that. Kind of started to educate myself on a deeper level. And I found out that, and I don't know if you know this or not, but, the Midnight Ride of Paul Revere was not alone. Paul Revere had 2 other guys that rode with him. And
interesting.
It was Richard Doss and William Prescott, I think. Prescott was a doctor, Dr. Prescott. Anyway, all 3 of them took different routes to go up to Lexington to let John Hancock know that the British were coming and he needed to leave because they were going to arrest him, and they were going to take the armaments and all the ammunition and everything. They were coming for that in Concord, and so they had to get rid of it, hide it, whatever they did, And it's so funny. All three of them set out, and the only person that didn't make it, which is what the ride was all about. Everybody talks about, right? Midnight Ride with Paul Revere, right? He got caught by the British, so he didn't make it. Who made it was Prescott, and thank God, because otherwise they would have been arrested and more bad things would have happened. And I mean, it was already tragic enough, but yeah, I really wanted to. I guess memorialize that experience.
Wow.
And to let people know. And so this year we ended up actually putting the song really together, and it's called I Ride. It'll be out probably in another month or so. So
fantastic.
Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah.
Look forward to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Music is always to me a window into people's soul and into history.
Yeah.
And you just that's a perfect example. And that was very interesting. Paul Revere, I once read, was the reason people believed him when he was telling people that the English were coming was because he had a reputation and he was trustworthy. Because if you think about it, some guy just riding through town saying the English are coming, who's going to believe him?
Right. Yeah, he was a silversmith. And he has a house. Still, his house is still there in North Beach. I think it's north of Boston, North Boston. Pretty fairly well to do. The guys were fairly well to do. They were obviously respected. Yeah. So yeah, but he didn't make it. He got caught.
Caught. Yeah.
He got caught. The British got him. But so thank God there were two other guys going.
Yeah.
And I think people don't realize that, like how that moment was a turning point.
Right.
It could have been a turning point. Yeah, it wasn't only the Midnight Ride of Paul Revere. But thank you, Longfellow. I mean, we needed to have something.
And somehow we're on history now, but
yeah,
we also owe Benjamin Franklin a huge thanks, not just for what people know of him, but if he didn't get on that boat and go to France and get support, we were done.
Yeah.
So there's just so many micro moments.
I know, micro moments. And check this out. He had a personal assistant. He loved Britain. And what people don't know is we are British. We were British living in a British colony, right? With British accents, Irish accents, Scottish accents, right? And not American accents. And we didn't really want to separate. We just wanted them to cease and desist with the taxes. Hello, we're back again. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yep.
And that was really it. But it came to a point where, like you said, Ben was over there. He was living in London, and then he got really disillusioned because nobody was listening. And so, because he really tried his diplomatic skills, which I guess were pretty fabulous. Then he just said, okay, I'm going to go to France. So he was over there, and his personal assistant, this was really interesting. His personal assistant was British, and he was a spy, and he was telling the king and everybody by letter, guess what? This is what's going to go down. The French are going to help. And they went, no, they're not.
Surprise.
That could have stopped us right there.
Right. That's great. That's fantastic.
It's amazing. History is so amazing. Like when you start finding things out, you're going to, really? Yeah, that could have been a turning point right there. They could have kiboshed it.
And you made a sort of a point about taxes, like here we are.
And here we are.
It's like when people say, well, why do we need the Second Amendment? Well, in case the First Amendment doesn't work. It's like, here we are.
Yep.
It's kind of wild.
Yeah.
Wow. So, I mean, we're off on history right now. So do you read and study history? Is it just something that has influenced some of your music along the way, like you just said?
I'm always been a revolutionary. So since I was 10, ever since I heard the Beatles song, you say you want a revolution. Well, I was like, I want to be a revolutionary.
I want that.
I want that. And so I think it always kind of influenced me. And so, how about now is how what you know about history, because it does repeat itself and sometimes not in a good way. And so you kind of have to be awake, aware, like what's going on. Why do we have the protections that we do have, and you just got to not let things get run away with stuff. I think it's easy to, and I think it's always been there, but it's really easy to forget about where we live, why we're here, the freedoms that we do have, that type of thing. And I think Britain right now is struggling with that a little bit because they have their freedoms too. And, it's being infiltrated by situations that are taking advantage of the freedoms that they could, and trying to destroy a culture. And I don't think that's cool. I think every culture is beautiful in its own way. And it's great to share with each other, but I don't think one should go and take advantage of situations or other cultures that you have certain freedoms that maybe your culture didn't have, and you come in and you try to infiltrate all that and then change it to some suppressive kind of thing. Like, no, go away. Go back home if you want to be suppressed.
Go back.
We don't need that. So we have to really be aware of that and really fight for the things that we stand for, our culture, and maybe, what does that mean?
I think because we're a very young country, people forget that.
Yeah.
250 years is just like
nothing.
Go read about the Romans, right?
So totally.
Maybe it's happened so fast, and the things that we all have enjoyed and benefited in our life, especially the younger generation now, you get further and further away from really realizing and appreciating how we got here and what are the pillars that our forefathers is almost like they were amazingly intelligent in thinking about 250 years down the road.
Oh yeah.
The things that might come up and we need to have these pillars.
Yeah.
But the further you get away, I think they get lost.
Yeah.
And it becomes like, we should always have a new car. We should always go to a private school. We should always eat out dinner. We should, all these things.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it can be gone like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And we got a sneak peek of, when COVID hit. So, and I think we're still, struggling with that a little bit, the fallout from it. And I think those are the things that I'm aware of. And then I try to stay conscious myself. It's not easy. When, we've lived a glorious experience, this is the only period in time, I would say the last, 40 or 50 years that we've had this type of technology and freedom and cash flow, money and opportunities for each and every one of us. And, you hear, every immigrant that ever hit this country, they came because they saw something, they saw a future, they saw some type of inspiration for themselves, and they came in and excuse my French, but kicked ass, and they built businesses and had their family units and that type of stuff. And, those of us that have been here for a long time, we just went, oh, okay. It's easy for us to forget, and I wrote a song, one of my off the new album called Lulu, Cypress Moon. It's called Lulu White. And Lulu was this wonderful woman in the late 1800s in New Orleans. And she was actually the richest woman in New Orleans of the 1800s, which was pretty phenomenal, and a woman of color. Yes, she owned a brothel. Yes, she owned a bar and various other things. But I'll tell you what was impressive to me was that how she could work together in a patriarchal situation where women, you either married, you're living at home, or you're working for your father, or you're a scullery maid, or something, right? There was no real freedoms or independence for women. And I think a lot of young women don't even think about it. They don't even think twice. And so I really felt like I wanted to write on honor this woman instead of saying, oh, well, she was a prostitute or she owned a brothel or whatever. It's like, no, she is a badass goddess in the sense of she took on her dreams, aspirations, life, and worked in the system that was there that they had, at the time. This is way before women could have the right to vote, ladies, 1920. Okay. So, you gotta take those historical figures and look at that and go, yeah, we're in a different day, and we're lucky we have the freedoms that we have. I mean, women couldn't get a credit card without a cosigner until 1970.
Pretty amazing, huh?
Yeah, those things that we take for granted. So, things like that. So I was just, I thought I'm going to honor this woman and I'm going to write a song about her, and it's called Lulu White. And I love it. I love it.
Well, yeah. You're building up this album. I can't wait. It's going to be pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's gonna be fabulous. It's probably my work. This is like the top of my work for right now, and I'm delighted, and I'm in great voice. I have a fabulous vocal coach. His name is Fred O'Neill, and Fred's out of Scotland. He trained Susan Boyle for like over 10 years, and he's a lovely human being and fabulous vocal coach.
Fantastic. Yeah. So when did you start? Were you a teenager when you started singing? Is that when it clicked?
I was 4 professionally when I was 16.
Okay.
Yeah. I was one of those weird kids that was singing and people go, oh my God, what a voice,
That was it.
Yeah.
Wow. And you just took to it.
I just took to it. It was just, and I had great parents. They never said, when are you getting a real job? Why are you doing that? They were very proud of me, and they were just like, yeah, we'll come and see you sing, It's like, they were great. I was very fortunate. I don't take that for granted, for sure.
Wonderful. What's on your, I don't know, what's either on your streaming favorites, or what kind of albums? What do you favor right now? What are you listening to?
Me,
all over the place.
Yeah, when you're focused on what you're doing, it's hard to step out and go, let me go listen to this. Let me go to, just because you've got so much time, it's just,
right.
You have to stay focused on creating from the inside out. Right. So I don't necessarily always want to be influenced by the outside.
Right.
That's just me. I have my favorites like Prince and Dakota Staton, Sarah Vaughan, Rochelle Farrell. I mean, they're my favorites. They're truly talented humans. What else? Nobody from really contemporary stuff. I like Government Mule. I don't know if you're familiar with them.
Oh yeah.
Oh man. I just I want to sing with that guy. I'm just like, I want to do a duet with him. I should reach out and see if he would.
I just saw a video of him yesterday singing with Derek Trucks.
I don't know who that is.
Tedeschi and Trucks. Susan Tedeschi and Derek. Oh, you got to look.
I'm going to write that down.
Let me see if I have it up right now. I'll just show it to you. No, I don't. You're going to love it.
Oh my goodness.
Susan Tedeschi and Derek Trucks. Derek Trucks is actually lineage of the Allman Brothers.
Oh, and my goodness.
Yeah, he started doing slide guitar back when he was a little tyke, and they would bring him up on stage, and he was just all over the place. They're like,
wow.
Whoa. Yeah, you're going to love it.
Wow, I'll check him out for sure. That's awesome.
Yeah. I think Government Mule is actually touring right now.
Wow. They're so good.
In case they're out your way.
Good Lord.
Well, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
How did you, and I was talking to another artist earlier this week, and I asked the same question because I'm fascinated by it, is at some point in your life, the influence that you just mentioned into your singing, into your voice. But at some point, it became your voice. It became your style. You came out. How does that happen? Is it just one day you go, well, I'm gonna take a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and this is what I think?
Well, I think for me, it's one of those things that just seeps into your pores, really. I mean, whatever you're listening to, you kind of get influenced by it. And then, doing top 40 for a good 10, 15 years when I was younger, you try to sound like Madonna. You try to sound like, whoever was the hot thing at the time, because you're actually you're covering that song. So, so you kind of get that, it kind of goes into your pores, and then you may or may not like it, but then there's things that you really love, that you really are connected to. And I have different levels of how I like something. I'm either in love with lyricism or, what the content that they're writing, or, their vocal ability, or both, or, you know what I mean? It's just, or the way they phrase and the way they style things, and then after a while you just let go and you just let yourself be. You really just do. You just like, you just interpret the song how you interpret it,
Right.
Especially if you're writing your own material, then you're going to interpret it the way you need to. So there'll always be the top 40 singer inside of me somewhere. I'll be always listening to somebody and going, oh, I love that riff, and then,
right.
And then I'll just maybe adopt it. And then what happens is that you don't adopt it exactly like that, but then you make your own adoption to that. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. When I do hear an artist sing somebody else's song and they just nail it.
Yeah.
It's just like really like when Johnny Cash did Hurt, 9 Inch Nails. And I was like, that is like completely the other side of the spectrum, what he just did.
Amazing.
And it's so good. Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah. It's something else.
Yeah.
So tell me, I want to hear a little bit about your books, and then I want to hear a little bit about your podcast.
Sure.
When did you start writing?
Well, I've always been a lyricist, but I've never really considered being an author as an author, right? Up until about 2018. And it kind of happened, it started with, in my kitchen with a friend, and she said, oh, you're a badass goddess. And I was like, what? And the first thing I wanted to do was like, no, I'm not that. I'm not that. Took it as a compliment, right? Oh no, I'm not that.
Right.
And then I said, shut up. She's trying to pay you a compliment. Let that person, that woman, pay you this compliment. So I did. And then I thought, well, I'm gonna really look into that. Like, what does that mean to be a goddess? What does that mean to be badass? And I thought, well, it can be what I'm making it. I'll take it and turn it into an acronym and make it be for beautiful, accessible, daring, just whatever you want, sassy, sexy, badass, right? Take each one as an acronym. And so I did that. And then as I was going down that trail, I started a podcast called Global Badass Goddess. And that I was interviewing women or whomever that I felt really had something extraordinary to share. And what did that mean for them? And so that's how it started. And I realized that was a lot of work. And I did that for a while. Then we did a magazine. And then a friend of mine, I was chatting with him, and he'd been writing this book for 10 years. And I thought,
wow,
I'm a action person. So I'm thinking, this is ridiculous. Who writes a book for 10 years? Right. So I go, it was like a little weird personal challenge. It was like, okay, well, how long does it really take? And I thought, well, do I have anything of value to share with people? And I thought, well, I do. My girlfriends always come to me for certain things, and I always get questions asked. And so I thought, well, I don't know how to write a book. So I go, okay, let's do 20 chapters, 10, 15 chapters, whatever, right? And I'll do a chapter a day. It'll be done in, 2 weeks. And I thought, okay. So I thought, okay, I'm going to talk about clarity, courage, confidence, commitment, community, because those are the things that I understand, that I know about, that I've worked on, and that I could share stories with. And I thought I'm just going to do like a teaching memoir kind of thing. So sure enough, I took a chapter a day. I wrote until I was done. Then the next day, the next chapter, I did not go back. I kept going chapter after chapter. So after 15 days, all the chapters were done. I set it down for like 2 or 3 days, came back. Then I reread what I wrote each chapter, each day, did another, 15 days on that, sorted it out, and then put it away. And then this is Courage, Find Your Fire and Ignite Action in Your Life. And then I had a coach at the time, and I said, I want to share this with her, see what she thinks. Like if this is good enough that I can maybe use for a workshop or something, and as an outline. And she came back and she's like, oh my God. She's like, this is really good. Like you should really think about having an editor come in and edit this properly and help you with getting it up and out. And I'm like, okay. Why not? And that's how that started. That's how I did it. And then I wrote 2 more books, Own the Goddess Within and Soul on Fire. And then I did a collaboration with a really good friend of mine that's a visual artist. He does a lot of chalk interpretations of trauma and different things. It's really good. And we did a book together. It's called The Grimoire of Lost Lore. So that was pretty neat. So we did that together, and that was an interesting hurdle for that. But pictures, words.
And was your process pretty much the same every time?
Yeah,
you just try to nail a chapter a day. Okay.
Yeah. I think you have to do it that way. But again, I'm more of a self-help type of personality, stories, that kind of thing. I'm not, somebody that needs to do tons of research. And that's what I really discovered, when you're doing certain types of book, you need to have the research, you need to do the research. Right. So it's going to take longer, and I stopped poo-pooing 10 years. Oh my God. I thought you're a lazy bum. That was my little prejudice.
Well, I know a lot of people would. I mean, it's intimidating to think about writing a book.
It is. I didn't know anything about it. Yeah, Sean. I just went, all right, and then I looked at a book and I went, okay, there's chapters.
Table of contents.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. And it's like, and I love my editor. She's so awesome. She's so good. She goes, okay, so there's a preface. A what? Yeah, a preface. You need to write the preface. I'm like, okay. You need to write a synopsis for the back of the book. Okay. It was just like, oh God, who wants to do this for a living?
That's for people that don't want to read the whole book. They'll just read the preface and the synopsis.
Exactly. And
you write it. I'm done.
Exactly. Oh, but she was great. She was great.
The world of self-publishing now.
Yeah.
Did you explore that? Did you do that?
I did do that. Yeah. You can get all my stuff on Amazon.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's all there.
What was that like?
Book. She helped me do it. I mean, I'm grateful. I mean, I did the last 2 books by myself, but yeah, you just got to get a, ISRC code and a bunch of other stuff. So, it's a little process, cool. And then upload it and, and then there's the process of like, oh, okay. Do I want to, I've got Courage is a hard book. I think you can also download it. And then the other 2 are just downloadables, for real cheap, and maybe I shouldn't use that word. That's such a bad word. Cheap.
Great value.
affordable. Anyway, so yeah, so she helped me with the first book, and then the second one was easy enough. So third one was easy. So yeah.
Very cool. So tell me a little bit about the Grammy moment.
Yeah.
The nomination, it was The Fury, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Pretty special. Super nice guy. We met because we're all in the Recording Academy. So usually people that win Grammys are, not always, but are usually inside the Recording Academy, which is, is kind of like it's a group, right? That everybody you apply to be in. And not everybody gets in. I didn't get in the first time. And you really have to do that first. Let's just put it that way. And then you do your work, and then you connect with each other, and it becomes your community, becomes the people that you work with, you talk to, you connect to. And somehow Antonio found me through the community, and then asked me if I wanted to work on his album. And I said yes. And it just, I think a lot of it's saying yes. I said yes. Yes.
How about that?
And then I was doing my own stuff too. And really sweet guy. And next thing I know, we were like nominated, and it takes a lot of work though. But we were nominated. I went to LA, went through the whole Grammy process, and I'm really glad, because I got to have that hands-on experience of like what it is, how it really happens, what goes on, the things that you guys see on CBS, where it's just, Taylor Swift and Beyonce only, and down there on the floor. That's record company stuff. That's separate from all of us that are independents, even though we're independents, Anyway, it's just a learning thing as I go along in this industry. I learned so much about how things work and how things are parted out, and who you get access to, who you don't. It's really interesting. But it was marvelous, and I'm really grateful that I got to have that experience, because I really see where that is, and the value of it, and the things that aren't valuable. So you really get to see that.
Right?
Yeah, but it's an all-day affair. I mean, so the things you guys see at night are not what happens during the day. So what happens during the day is that we all line up outside of the Staples Center to go into this theater. It's a smaller theater. And this is mainly for us. This is just for Recording Academy voting members and whoever's in the Academy, right? So we all shuffle in this. It's a big theater, but it's way smaller. It's not like the Staples Center or whatever they call it now, Crypto Center or whatever. Anyway, so you're in there, and then they go through every single nomination, which is 94 this last year. There were 94 categories, or 96, I think, 94, 96. And you're just like, wow. And you'll see people go up there, accepting the award for, Taylor Swift is, that kind of thing, that they run through all of it. So all of that Taylor Swift and whoever wins those categories, song of the year, album of the year, you see it go through, but they aren't there. They don't come through there. They're there for the night show, right? And the accepting the award that night. The rest of us go up and accept the award, and it's a big show. It's like there's music that comes out, and then the president comes out, and they talk, and and it's like an award show all day long. It's really intense. Yeah, it's crazy. So
I gotta imagine you met a lot of people.
You do. Matter of fact, I met a guy at the big ceremony awards. I met his name is Guy. It's so funny, and he now lives in Los Angeles. But I think he's either French or I I don't know. He's a lovely human, very, very motivated, very talented. Anyway, he and I are working together. This is my second album with him. We did the first one last year. It's called Four Shades of Blue. We didn't get a nomination, but we did win another awards show down in Los Angeles. So we did win for Best Blues Album. I was on that, so that was wonderful. That was for the International Music Awards. We got that, and then this year I think we'll be up for a Grammy. I don't know what he's going to call it yet, but I'm working on the songs now. I've got to get that done and get that back to him. I got 2 songs on the album again. It's a lot of work. Let's just say it's a lot of work because I'm writing the material, I'm singing the material, I'm designing the melodies, that kind of thing. So it's a lot.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's a lot.
You make it sound so easy.
It's not.
It's not.
It's not. I just understand the process.
Yeah.
And then do my own, at the same time. I'm like doing my own, But
do you go out and I don't want to say tour, even though you may. Do you play local places? Do you go out and sing? So tell me a little bit about that.
Not much. It's time consuming and nobody pays.
Oh.
So yeah, it's silly. I just did a show, but it was perfect timing for me. 2 weeks ago, I just did a show down in Richmond, California at a place called Wellness Within. And it's this wonderful EE system. It's a light therapy thing. It's like amazing. And so I did a show there, an hour show, and it's mostly to support the community and be out there. I have my own space here on this property, and we hold about 40 people. We do intimate concerts here. So in the past, what I've done is I brought other artists through, and then myself, and we've done a variety of things here. But that takes a lot of time and energy, and I don't have a big team here. I have a small team, so it takes a lot.
So are your years or months, it's almost what I'm hearing is like you got to carve out, okay, the first half of this year is going to be about me writing an album, singing an album, and then after that, maybe I'll go out and sing at places or I'll write a book. I mean, do you have to chunk up your life in that regard? Because you're in a zone right now. You're not listening to any other music. You're focused right now, right?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, no, you hit it right on the head. I mean, I think any artists that are really listening out there, you really need to have a structure. Let structure and organization be your friend, because that's will make things go smoother, easier. You won't say yes to things that don't matter, and it's really important.
That's a big one.
It really is, and but that's know thyself. I mean, you really have to have a come to Jesus moment with yourself. Like, who am I? Why am I here? What am I doing? You go through those questions. Any business would ask themselves those questions. What's my mission? What's my purpose? And once you really hit on that clarity, courage, confidence, commitment, community. And once you hit on that, right, then you can go, okay, I'd really love to go out tonight and do that, but I don't have time for that. I can't do that. When you start asking questions, like my buddies from Scotland called me and they go, hey, let's go to, I'm going to New York and we're doing Men in Kilts. And there's this big Scottish thing, because I'm Scottish. So there's this big festival and, Outlander and everything. And I'm like, I really want to go. But I'm like, well, that's a plane ticket, 5 hours. And then where am I going to stay? And then and you're like, is it worth it? Do I know these people? What's in it for me? I mean, you have to really start, I'm not 20 and go, let's just party. Woo, woo. Sounds like a great opportunity, but not really, So you just have to be judicious with your thoughts and your time, your energy, it's like really, really key, So, yeah.
Coaching, there's a flavor of coaching that comes out of you, just effortless in a lot of the things that we end up talking about. When did that start happening? Was it life experiences, and then you just started helping people around you, and that voice just sort of emerged?
Yeah, pretty much. Once you have the breakthrough with yourself,
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's like so many people spout off shit and they're like, well, have you had a breakthrough in that? Well, no, but I can tell you all about it. It's like, no, don't tell me all about it, because people know that's bullshit. They can smell it, It's like, and I'm not here to say I'm a coach. That's not my, that's not my, my dream, my passion, whatever. My passion is to share with the community how they can have their life really powerful, that they could have what they want, and I'm here to say I'm living proof of that. I'm doing the things that I love, and I love the people in my life. And not to say that it's easy, but I have those moments where I'm like, I'm having a breakthrough in this, and then I know that anybody else can do the same thing. So I'm here to say, come on, come and enjoy yourself. Like I just created this show because I was at a crossroads for myself about a year ago, going, how do I take transformation, education, all the things that I've learned, music, writing music, storytelling, how do I take all of that, those things that I love, that I think are really powerful modalities for people, and pull it into one? Like, don't just be the musician, don't just be the author, don't just be this over here, right? How do I blend that together? And I was sat there for like days, weeks, months, like, I don't know how to blend this together, right? It's like, and what I came up with was this wonderful show called Soul on Fire. And what does that mean? What does Soul on Fire mean? Well, it's when you take your passion and you're focused and you're doing it, right? So that's kind of how I love that whole experience. And then inside of it, I wanted to create an experience that people would come in, they would get their gift bag, and there would be a journal in there, and they would go and sit down, and they would, in front of this screen, this beautiful screen, and watch these beautiful imagery. And then I would come in and I would sing and I would tell stories, and then I would pose questions. And so it's taken me a while to design that. So, and then they get 5 minutes to look at the question and write the answers down. Right. And then I would come back in, and then I would do more singing, more storytelling, that kind of thing, on a journey that I'm taking people on. So that's my newest live performance thing that I'm designed and have been developing. Wow. So that's next. That's what's next for me, plus then I can sell my album, Cypress Moon, I've got my books, so it's like, see how it all comes in together. I become my own business that's relevant for people now today, that they could use in their life, that they need. Not just, oh, Glenda's performing and she's fabulous, or we hate her, whatever. It's like, it's not just that, right? It's this combination of things, and it's all in service to others. It's all in service to that while expressing myself, right?
That's fantastic. As you were talking, I was thinking one of the, I think, hardest things, and maybe this is just my perspective, is in my life is, I think it's very hard for people to ask themselves the right questions.
Yeah.
And I think that could range from, I don't even know what questions to ask, versus I really don't want to answer that question.
Right.
And having somebody like yourself who can bring that out and have a platform for that, because that's even leadership. Like when corporate America.
Yeah.
When somebody comes to you and they're asking you the right questions.
Yeah.
You're like, that's somebody I want to work with.
That's right.
Because they're asking the difficult questions, the hard questions.
That's right.
They're not just skating through life.
Right.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially, and what is the last 20, I feel like the last 20, 25 years has just been, there's just been a lot of entitlement in our fabric of our society. And I think people need to ask tough questions. I love that.
I think we're ready for it, don't you, Sean?
I think a lot of it's happening just by happen chance from things that maybe we don't like or don't agree with, but it's happening.
Yeah.
But yeah, I always say, if everybody would just listen to John Cougar Mellencamp's first couple albums and just sing his songs.
And the kids would go like, who is he talking about?
Pink Houses?
Who's that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. They probably would.
What?
So what's the easiest way to not only connect with you today on what mediums like YouTube or your website, but what's the best way to connect with you? And then we talked about some great things that you've got in the works right now. They're going to happen pretty soon.
Yeah.
And keep up to date with what's going on.
Yeah. Well, I answer all my emails. So if anybody, at this point, I'm kind of revising my website right now. So it's in the works, but it's working. So I would say just come on and send me an email and just say, okay, hey, I want to be on your email list. I want to come to your show. I want to see Soul on Fire. I want to hire you. I want to buy one of your books, which is easy enough. I mean, it's all on the website, but you can go to Amazon, just Google my name, Glenda Benevides, or Courage, Find Your Fire, Own the Goddess Within, Soul on Fire. It's all right. It's all there. I'm all over the web. So you can't really miss it. But glendamusic.com is the easiest way to get to my website. Glenda, Glenda music.com. And then of course you saw my YouTube channel. So it's, it's youtube.com/C/Glenda Benevides, and it take you right there. Yeah. And
if somebody wants to Google your name, I can tell you firsthand, the whole first page is about you. It is amazing. So
thanks.
Great job.
Thank you. Yeah. It's a lot of work.
Anything you want to tease us about, or any shout outs to people that you work with, or?
Oh gosh. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, just so many people. I mean, I thank the heavens for Gene Williams, who is my co-writer, co-producer, and he also is my mastering engineer and mixer right now. So thank God. So that's fabulous. And I've got Josh, who plays with Nora Jones. He's on one of my two or three of my songs now on the album. He's a wonderful guitarist. He's really good. And then Scarlett, she plays with Bob Dylan. She's a beautiful violinist. Wow. She's on I Ride. I've got some tremendous talent that I'm working with right now. And just the album is really special. So once it comes out, I'll do a big push and stuff for it. So hopefully people will be inspired to purchase, and just to let people know. And I think a lot of times people don't know this because of the streaming platforms. Upside is, yes, it's given all of us artists that are not signed with major labels, which are very few these days. It's given us opportunities to come into the ears of many people, right? Mm-hmm. In a really easy way. But the downside is when you stream an artist, they don't make money.
Right.
When you buy from an artist, they do make money. For example, I had 60,000 streams on one of my songs. 60,000. Let's do the math. That could be a business on its own. If somebody paid $1 out of every stream and I got the dollar, that would be $60,000 I could get off of one song. Okay. You are now supporting an artist's business. That is not happening. I think the last time I looked, you get 0.003 cents if you're lucky. 0.003. Okay, that's minus a cent. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So please, if you can, any artist that you love, maybe check them out on, YouTube or wherever you want to check them out on. But please don't do playlists and all that kind of stuff. Go buy their album, go buy their music, really support them, go to their website, do that. I'm a real advocate for that right now. Just because if you want to have a business, if you don't care, then don't worry about it. Stream it. Who cares? but the illusion that you're going to get yourself in front of a lot of people through streaming, because think about it, if you're doing the marketing, you're sending people to the platforms, you're not sending them to your website.
That's correct.
So you're doing work for them and they're not paying you. It's a form of slavery. So don't do it. Just try to not do it. Go ahead, take a quick listen and go, yeah, I really like that song. I'm going to go ahead and go over there and buy that song. That's fine. That's a great way to use stuff as a tool, but don't put playlists together and, really, spend money on the, on having, a channel with them. And then, you know what I mean? It's just not, it doesn't serve the artist. And then after a while, artists can't make any money. They can't make any money, so they can't play. They got to go find a job, So I'm just trying to give people a 411. I shared that at my last show and people were just like, what? I'm like, what?
I've, and not to just feed into what you're saying, but often questioned a lot by my wife, why do you constantly buy albums? And that's a big part of it. There's the feel, obviously, and the enjoyment that I get out of it. I have from the 90s and early 2000s, I probably have thousands of CDs.
It's great.
So here's my biggest thing. Now I'm going to go on a tangent.
Yeah.
15 years ago, we all thought we were going to outsmart the big television companies and cable companies. We're going to cut the cord and screw them. And we're not going to, and we're going to just watch, we're going to stream. Well, guess what? We all have about 15 different streaming apps now, and they all have commercials now.
Yes.
So the other night, I said, we need to just stop all of this.
Yep.
And let's just go back to buying DVDs.
There you go. There you go.
It's the same thing. It's like, it's like, this is madness right now.
It's madness. Brilliantly said. Brilliantly said. We were just doing the same thing going, wait a minute, I'm paying you a subscription and now I'm being tortured by a commercial that I don't want to see because you're extra greedy.
100%. It's like they're all sitting back laughing going, ha! They thought they cut the cord 10 years ago. We showed them.
Yeah.
We're making more money.
Oh yeah. and we're using AI and we're going to cut back. We're going to fire a bunch of people. Yeah.
Well, we could talk about that. We could talk about that, especially as it applies to your industry of songwriting, book writing, music.
Yeah.
We could talk, there's another hour we could talk about that.
Right.
So.
Right. No, it's a great subject. I love AI. I use it as a tool.
Yeah.
And if you keep that in mind and you use your own thought process, your own creativity, your own consciousness, your own way of thinking through things, you'll be fine. And then you just use it like to ask it to sort out a set list, to write a really good email. It needs to say this, make it professional, things like that I wouldn't necessarily sound professional. When you're reaching out to, let's say you're reaching out to somebody that you want to be professional with, there's not your bestie, come over, you want to just, be a pro, man, then that's appropriate, right? It helps. It's great. Especially those of us that are dyslexic. That would be me. Here's my merchandise.
I love it. All right. Well, do you know let me see here. What's that? Mute. So one more time. Music Unity. I love it. I love it. Transforming life through the power of music. Fantastic. That's awesome. Do you know if your new album is going to be on vinyl? Do you know yet?
That's so funny. We talked about it.
Okay.
But that would have to be a strategy. The strategy would be, okay, we're going to sell each album for $50, because it's expensive to print vinyl. Pretty neat stuff. But then you gotta think about, okay, like for example, how you're going to be able to get my music is you're going to be able to download it directly either off of Bandcamp or my website, right?
Got it.
For example, I have a song, it's called I Burn, which it's going to go on the album. But it's a single. I had a woman that owns a company, a fairly renowned company, and she loved it. She went on there and she bought it for $50. $50. One song. Okay.
One song.
That's how the artist makes money. Okay.
Right.
And she knows that because she's an artist too. But so you want to do that, or what I do is at live shows, I have QR codes that people can go to, pay for, download, or they can buy physical properties. And what I do is USB sticks.
Oh.
So you put all your music, you put pictures, you put stories, you put video, all on the USB stick. They take it. It's wonderful. It's small. It's easy to pack around. You're not shucking crap around, right? For your live show, they take it, they put it in their computer, because most of us don't have hard drives that, spin discs anymore. Upload, take it off, and then you've got yourself a USB stick, a free one to use.
Brilliant.
It's brilliant. It's
Good
super useful, and you get all kinds of stuff. You get more stuff from not only just the music, you get pictures or whatever else that the artist is offering on that really small digital piece,
Right.
It's fabulous. It's fabulous.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, good for
I'm
you.
sold on that.
I was so excited to meet you, and it's been all of that and more.
Thank you.
I wish you well in what you got, the album coming up.
Yep. Soul on Fire to sell.
Soul on Fire.
Corporate retreats. That's what I'm doing. Mm-hmm.
Well, I saw that somewhere, and I'm thinking that's really interesting.
Yeah.
I could see that really being something worthwhile, and a lot of good energy from you, and that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
So, well, you're amazing.
Thank you.
You really are.
Thank you, Sean.
It's very nice to meet you. And if I don't know, we'll stay in touch. I'm going to stay in touch with you. And if for whatever reason you find yourself in the Mid-South, particularly in the area that I'm in, which is basically the Memphis area, for whatever reason, you know who I am now, and you want to go see Elvis and go see the Graceland and blow your mind if you haven't done that yet.
I haven't done it. I've never done it.
But there's lots of stuff here. I would love to introduce you to maybe some of the people in the industry that are here, and there's a lot of them here.
Lovely.
So just keep that in mind if you're ever in the area.
Thanks, Sean. Yeah, no, I love it. I'm actually it's so wonderful, because all the interviews that I do in different areas, they're all like, God, I want your music to come here. And I'm like, well, I need an agent to book me there,
Right.
So that's kind of the conundrum. But yeah, if you could, if we know of somebody, I'm actually looking for that. I'm looking for someone that would want to take on that responsibility. But the cool thing is that they get paid. So yeah. Right. Yeah.
I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of fantastic venues here.
Wonderful. Yeah, we
really do. And some of them are just like hidden little gems, where the Black Keys just showed up a month ago.
Lovely. Yeah.
They just walked in and played a set in Hernando's Hideaway, and it was like 15 miles from my house. And I'm like, how did I not know that?
I
cannot believe that.
Oh my goodness.
So just stuff like that. It's really, it's just a great area for that. So
I love it. I think I would do really well in this. I think, the music and the people and, just, yeah.
Well, good.
That's great.
Well, thank you again.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you, Sean. Thanks for taking the time. And
we'll talk to you later.
Sounds good. Thanks so much.
Right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.